All right, hello everyone. Thank you, fine people of YouTube, for clicking on my video. This is Arpexy, and this is my blind first-time playthrough of Ender Magnolia. It's a low-death challenge. It was a no-death challenge, but now it's a low-death challenge, under 10 deaths. And I actually, today I'm going through the Arcane Factory. And if you don't know, I say blind because I don't know anything about the game, and I haven't seen anything at all at this point when I'm going through the game, through the whole run. So it's my very first time. I am on 6 deaths so far, and we will go through now. For this version, my goal here is to tell you guys about the game story and about the lore that I found out. So it's a lot complicated when you go through the game because it's very kind of cryptic and they don't tell you much. You're supposed to like find breadcrumbs all over the place and like connect things together, and you almost have to do it at the end of the game. So this kind of a game, it's like they give you the questions first, and then they expect you to find all the answers from these like disparate sources of information that they give you in pieces of lore. So for this actually, what I've done is I've watched a pretty good YouTube video about the lore. I think it's maybe the only one that's out there that talks about the lore, but I've done that, and I've also gone through all of the movies and all of the the text, like the notes and stuff the documents that you pick up in both Ender Magnolia and Ender Lillies. So I've got a good idea of the stories. I've also used AI to tell me about the story and to ask questions that I don't understand. And finally, I've looked at the art book for Ender Magnolia, which I got with my collector's edition. And I translated it from Japanese to English, and I didn't get too much new information from it, but I got some. So yeah, so I'll explain that this time around. And I'll be quiet here for this cutscene. All right, so that was a nice little cutscene there. This is all about like the shackled beast and his penchant for perfume, which Yolvan, the winged homunculus, the gun guy as I call him, he actually got him started on those perfumes. But there's a lot of like side pieces of information like that were on the video that I saw, and also in the art book. But like that video that I saw was like 2 hours, so I have the intention to make like maybe a separate lore video of it as like a condensed version. But anyway, I'll give that to you guys now. So basically, the first game, Ender Lillies, is kind of almost where everything started. But if we go back, so I'm gonna try to explain this in like chronological order. So if we go back, there was a group of people who ruled the entire world of the series, the Ender world, and they were called the Ancients, and they used a lot of like soul magic, which included, they actually made the blight as a weapon, and let's talk to this guy here. So they made the blight as a weapon. They made the Deathless Pact, as in the first game, and they also made, and in connection with Deathless Pact, they made like the ability to have eternal life by like binding souls. So they did that kind of magic. They also made structures which were like kind of like barriers to like I guess the blight that they created and other types of magic. And let me think if there's any other power they had. Okay, so the things that the Ancients actually could do was soul transfer, purification, corruption, creating clones, and magical constructs. So yeah, so they could do those things. They also, I'm not sure, but I think the white priestesses from the first game appeared because of either like a mutation with the DNA, or they were like ancients who were like infused with magic and soul abilities. So I think they were like designed by the ancients. But the issue with that is they were used as like weapons and like also to purify the blight. But the blight was like used as a weapon. So they actually were invaded by a different land from maybe overseas or something like that. That comes from the King's Note that's in the Ender Lillies logs. So these like this information from the King's Note, they actually like he talked to like they had like a greater number of soldiers and knights than the ancients, but they would kill their forces and they would just get back up again. So like they were like using the blight against them, but they eventually won the war and the ancients lost. The ancients survived in different ways by like blending in, or by using the benefits of like their soul magic, and those different benefits like got handed down throughout generations. So Ender Magnolia occurs like a few decades after the events of Ender Lillies, and Ender Lillies occurs like I guess a couple decades after the war that I was talking about. So that king came inside and he divided it into like 6 or 7 different regions. And those 6 or 7 different regions became different kingdoms. And then he ruled over Land's End, which was the closest kingdom to the land of origin, where a lot of the blight came from. Now the queen of that kingdom, she tried to get eternal life. So she was doing some kind of a rite, a ritual. So in Ender Lillies, it's basically like rites and rituals, but in Ender Magnolia, that's kind of replaced with science. So, but it's the same like concept. So she was doing like some kind of a ritual, and it didn't work correctly, and she ended up giving rise to the black rain, or the not the black rain, but the death rain, or like whatever it's called in Ender Lillies. That in this case, it's a lot of it is the smoke or the mist from below that is corrupting the homunculi and blighting them essentially. But in Ender Lillies, it is the rain that's doing it. So basically, that rain starts blighting everything in the kingdom, and the knights try to fight against the blight, but it's too much for them, and eventually a lot of the knights go crazy, and they become blighted. And in Ender Lillies, the main protagonist is Lily, and you have to purify those souls, and then they essentially be your allies, but they're more of like a ghost at that time. And so in that story, I think that's why they call it the quietest of the knights as well. But anyway, the king ends up getting killed by his... here we got laborer's tag, 10% defense, so that's pretty good. Good one. So anyway, the king gets killed by his son Julius, takes like a potion to become kind of like a blight so that he can fight the blight better. And so he ends up being like I think he ends up like getting corrupted and like essentially selfish. And so he resents his dad because he was born like he's a bastard son basically. And so his dad didn't pay a lot of attention to him. And so he resented him for that. But his dad also was blaming like the blight situation on, I think, like other things, and like getting angry that people like couldn't like fix the situation. And he also wanted to be immortal like his wife. So Julius says that that's like selfishness, and so he kills him. And then so essentially the character left in that is like Lily, who is a white priestess. She's the main character. And Fretia, or Fredia, I think it's Fredia, but she is she's technically the third ancient, or the third white priestess that was made. And I'm gonna pause that here. I think, I go right into fighting this guy here. So I'll pause my story here. Comment on this battle here. So this is the easier of the two machines. You just have to focus on killing the robots as soon as they come out of the boy, I have trouble with nouns. As soon as they come out of their little pods here. That was a good block there with the tuner art. You can also block that laser if you get the timing done right. And again, it's pretty good to be able to do that, like stay as long in the air as possible. And attack. That makes it like harder for certain enemies to hit you sometimes. So that's that. That boss is done. No deaths. He's a really easy one. The second one is the guy you got to worry about. So anyway, yeah, this Fredia, she was like the third white priestess, I think, and the other ones, they don't comment about the other ones. Just the second one, she said about her mother like taking in so much of the blight that like it like kind of destroyed her, and so that's essentially what Fredia was doing, and she was helping the country fight against the blight, and it was like they talk about like the spiral tower battle. So I guess they fought a lot in this place called like the Spire Tower, like the Twin Spires, I think it's called. And I guess they end up defeating everybody, and there's a blighted lord at that time. And that blighted lord is like it's the same as the final boss in the game. But I think the final boss in the game is maybe the queen who becomes a blighted lord. I'm not sure, but anyway, in the text it said that she was able to like purify the blighted lord. So it shouldn't be the end game boss. So she was able to like take in the blight, but her necklace thing broke, which is later repaired, and you used that to get the good ending of the game, I think. But like she got really sick, and then she like was like dying, and so that's why they have that movie with like the children surrounding her in that game. And one of them was Lily, the protagonist. And so I think what happened was all the other children, like they were either like sacrificed or they lost somehow, they got killed or something. And so the final one, I think, was Lily, and like she had like bodyguards who was helping her survive, and she had the bodyguard, which was it's the very first boss you fight. Well, she went crazy, and so Lily like ran away from her. She went crazy from the blight, and then so like she goes and she like tries to survive the whole time, and at some point in time I guess she like loses her memory, which is like seems to be a convenient trope in this game series. But she like loses her memory, and she wakes up underground. I think she went there to like hide from the blight, and when she wakes up she is greeted by the spirit, which is the Umbral Knight. And so the Umbral Knight, he is like he's like in like almost like a deathless pact with her. And it was either done on purpose or it was done like by chance. I'm not sure which one, but I think there's a scene at the end of the game where the white priestess that he is protecting dies, and she either dies to like set up the deathless pact, and then it transfers to like her daughter, which eventually becomes Lily somehow, or like she just died, and then like from like the connection it's like an automatic pact or something like that. But anyway, that means like his soul will stay alive and like with like memories, and so that's why he's like protecting Lily in the game. And so he finds her during that cutscene, and I think he lost his memories too, or he's starting to lose his memories. But anyway, you go through the game and you take care of all. You get your allies, and you finish the end of the game, and you purify the blighted lord. And so that's the end of that game. And then what happens then is Lily travel. It's a few decades later, so she gets a little bit older, and she lives longer because like it's like quite a few decades, like, because Abelia in this game has been living for quite a few years and has like took the souls of like transfer souls of like other people before. So it had to be a while, and so she like basically lives unusually long. And like people think that she's in the cutscenes in this game, which we saw one already, and we're gonna see another one again soon. But people think that is Lily from the first game, and I think so too. I think that would be like a cool way to like connect everything, and maybe she could be a playable character in like the third one or something like that. So yeah, people think that, and so she comes here and she is doing research on like the blight and things like that. That's the story. So I know that story is kind of like a lot to take in, so I will leave this episode for the backstory of everything and then the events of Ender Lillies, and then in the next episode I will talk about the lore of Ender Magnolia and what happens in the story. Because now we finally got into the research area here. And the enemies here are a lot more different. So they actually make clones here, and like biological things, and like animals and maybe humanoids and things like that. And then they go to the factory, and then the factory turns them into homunculi. I think that's the way it works. So we just finished a lot of the factory section, and now we'll go in this part here, and we'll start to explore this area a little bit. So this area has like one of the tougher boss fights in the game, which is the second fight with Gilroy. So he's like a little hard to predict, and yeah, he's just like a little bit harder in general. So I just noticed the wall there, and I up top, and I just came up and jumped up to it. So yeah, this area here, like thankfully, I wore the lightweight gear, and so I could access a few of these areas. I really recommend the light gear in this area. There's a lot of really high vertical areas. And this place right here is actually a pretty good area to like farm materials, because inside these gems here, there's a pretty good like amount of like materials, but it's not the best one. I'm gonna actually release a video which has like the best farming location, in my opinion, and I think it really is the best farming location, but it has like the best location in the game, and so I'm working on that right now. But I wanted to like dub this really quick, give this a voiceover. So of course, like these guys, yeah, it's just their explosion that you have to watch out for at the end. Other than that, like they're pretty easy. And these guys like right here, of course, you just take them out from underneath. Yeah, that's it. Right here, just jump as far as you can out there just for the heck of it, to see what's out there. There probably is secrets or another area. But not this time. But there you go, that's another use of the gear, so I fixed that, although I really didn't need to. It didn't give me anything new, so. But I can probably get all the way the heck up here, and I can. So just go right back up, and then what do we got here? Trying to get some scrap there. Haven't really hit any of them. But I'll kill these guys here, then I'll go up this wall here, and yeah, there is something up there, so I got the scrap in the end anyway, which is why the gun is good. It's pretty good to break them like that. So yeah, HP fragment, pretty basic. This is a bit of a struggle here, but I think I actually just give up. Yeah. So yes, that's interesting. I guess if you got up there somehow without the right combination of equipment and you couldn't break that floor barrier for some reason, I guess you technically could be stuck up there, but you could always, that's right, you could always like warp back anyway if that happened. But I suppose it's possible you could get stuck there. go. Just got to get that map cleared out. And then, yeah, now we're at a dead end here. So, yeah, warp back there and go to the left and clear the left side of the map there. So these guys actually can be kind of dangerous like that in like that kind of situation, but you can just like dodge through them like that, and then they're not so bad to handle. At this stage in the game, you should really have like really good control over your ability and your character, and you should be comfortable with like your homunculi mix and things like that. So for me, I was really like comfortable with like what my character can do. And see, they're coming close, and just come on the other side. And then you do want that blocking barrier. You don't want to be stuck up against the wall and then like those yellow things are coming at you. So it's good to like have that equipped all the time. So in that note, it says like based on the blight, fusion of blight with an avian species in the foreign nation. So that was from like the research guy. I forget his name, but he's the guy that after you fight the boss, that is like the test subject boss, you get like this like kind of wizard or like sorcerer guy, and he has this like bucket cannon thing that he uses. Well, that guy. So yeah, so that's from his experiments, I think, in Ender Lillies. And so that research came over here somehow, and it also was used to create like Yolvan, the gun guy here. And that's why like he looks kind of like Ender Lillies, like from the previous game, because he's made like with that like experimentation. But it's like, yeah, I think he was researching the blight to try to like find eternal life and to try to like keep the blighted human, and like so they can remember like their memories and things like that. And so that's like one and the same, like immortality for people and like keeping the blighted like with their human memories is the same thing. So he was kind of like, because I think it was like his wife or something, like she became blighted, and so that's why he was doing that. But anyway, that research came into this game. But I think it's basically just because the developers, they wanted some kind of connection to Ender Lillies, and like especially like aesthetically. And so I think that's why. Because what's interesting is like in the artwork, the first original sketches show like this character, and they show Nola as being like a little bit more darker. It's like with the same like Ender Lillies color palette. So originally I think they were designing it to be very similar, but then they changed it. And I think that was a pretty like good move actually. Like, I know I said earlier that like I liked the Ender Lilies, like the theme a little bit more, how it was like, you know, kind of you know, about nights, and like the color palette was a little like darker and, you know, drearier, but this style is really good too, so I'd rather have them both. So this section here, I think we're supposed to ascend this with a different ability, but I think I know how to get up there. But I don't know why I didn't try it though. So he said like, oh, do I know you from somewhere? I think that is because Lily, well, yeah, the names are confusing, right? So protagonist of Ender Lilies is Lily, and her, like, quote unquote mother is like Fredia. And then in this game, Lilac is the protagonist and Liliat is like kind of like her mother, but she's not introduced yet. So yeah, they're like starting to get into the past here a little bit more of like Lilac and Luceach, which in Japanese she's not called Luceach, she's called like Ryusai, but I don't know like why they changed the name so much, but it sounds better in English like Luceach, I guess, but like yeah, so apparently she knew Lilac when she was younger, and she got her the like uniform that she wears, which is like a Sorcerer's Academy uniform. So that's like maybe why they're starting to get into like her backstory a little bit too. But the yeah, essentially like but what I wanted to say is that like Lilac was here in the research center before. And so it's kind of hinting at that, like, oh, maybe I know you. Well, yeah, she was here because she was hiding from actually House Frost. So she is a House Frost member. She's Lilac Frost, but she was hiding from the House of Frost. And we'll find out like why later. So that relic, yeah, extra 5% defense. Like, who doesn't like that? So that's a good one to use to upgrade like as soon as possible. I'm not sure, like, what I'm thinking of here. I know, like, I try to do maybe 2 and 2 slots to fill up my relics here, but the thing, I feel like I don't have my collectible relics equipped, so I think that I'm going to fight a boss now, or maybe I think I'm going to do that. I'm not sure, but I think the next boss I fight is the other machine, and the issue with like that is you actually do a lot of aerial attacks against him. So actually the bird would really be the good one to have equipped for that, because you have to jump up to hit him all the time. So that's like a necessity for that boss battle. Obviously, like the XP dice, they're gonna stay on like the whole time, because even with bosses, you're gonna get that extra XP. You're gonna get a lot more, I think, from defeating the bosses. So that should be multiplied. That was my reasoning. So I don't think I ever take it off in the whole game. So by good fortune, I guess, I stuck with the bird, the raven, and maybe I'll have it equipped when I fight that boss, but the machine. But I'm just going to upgrade them now. And nope, so for whatever reason, I go back to my, like, collectible loadout here. But anyway, that's about it for this video. We went through a lot of the research facility here. We killed one boss, no deaths again. So this is a great streak, this 6 death, not becoming 7. This is an amazing streak right here. And we finished that, and we got a lot of lore and history information about Ender Lillies and what happened before that even. So next time I'll talk about the lore and the story of this game. It's a little more complicated than the other one, so I'll have to think about how to do it quickly. But I do want to thank you for sticking with me on this journey. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one. And I do fight the machine on the next one. So thank you very much. Please like and subscribe.